Hello YouTube. This is a new thing that I'm trying to start, where on Fridays I upload a video of me coloring pixels and talking about current events, pop culture, politics, whatever's on my mind. And if you're a friend of mine, you probably remember when I first tried to start a YouTube channel in 2020 and it kind of like fizzled off because I was still working my other job and it was COVID and it was a lot of stress. So it's really hard for me to figure out what I wanted to do and stay focused. But this is my second attempt, so hopefully you guys enjoy this content. And I kind of base this off of like people who watch YouTube essays also enjoy like when they on TikTok when you have like the people doing Subway Runner in the background. So maybe this will be something that you guys can enjoy. So this week was definitely plagiarism week by YouTube standards. Hbomberguy, who I'll link the video in the description, released a almost 4-hour tour de force examining the rampant, and I mean rampant, plagiarism of several YouTubers, including one guy I'd never heard of, James Somerton. And it was a great video, obviously, but it was also kind of infuriating in that way where I see how certain people, basically, it's like good people don't get credit enough, and people who like do shady things constantly get the world handed to them. It's like one of my favorite sayings, no good deed goes unpunished. Which is, this just also reminds me of this thing. So I've been trying to get through the Squid Game TV show on Netflix, not the original, but the game show version. And there's this guy who was like, in his confessional, he believes that, life is fair and that everything that he goes through, somebody else goes through. And I'm just like, you sound insane for saying that. Like, and maybe I shouldn't say insane, but rather very naive, because given everything, obviously the show is not in context of what's going on in Gaza and Palestine, because the show came out a while ago, but it's like, how could you ever possibly think that everyone's life and energy and things and traumas that they go through is the same when many of us wake up relatively okay? We have a house, clothing, like food, and there are people waking up to bombs every day and losing their family members and losing everything in minutes and hours. And it's like, how could you possibly say that like everybody's life is the same? And personally, I just feel like you could never say that to someone who knows billionaires exist. Speaking of billionaires, I am finding myself more and more disillusioned by what used to be typically left-leaning publications like The New Yorker and The Atlantic. Obviously, The Times has been dead, but just the way that these publications are covering things, and also the way that they're pressuring the writers and reporters to not take a stand for Palestine, and basically saying like, if you do such a thing, you're liable to be fired. Shout out to that company that I can't say the name of that definitely threatened to fire people if they did so. But yeah, the thought that I'm tracing there was this guy. So billionaires exist, right? And the person I was thinking of is that Jeffrey Bezos recent profile or whatever, and I'll put a link in the description as well. But another YouTuber did a really good deep dive into Jeffrey Bezos and his current wife, and how like that profile tries to make them sound human, but they just seem like ghoulish people who have way too much money. Like, there was a point in the like photo spread for that profile where she's like supposed to be girl bossing her way to the sun by flying planes and being, you know, a part of this business venture. And I just couldn't help but feel like, if you weren't already wealthy and if you didn't already have all of these like things lined up for you, you wouldn't have been able to get to this point in your life. And again, that whole idea of like good things happening to good people gets completely removed in that context too, because both of them cheated on their previous spouses. So like, morality is for us fools who care about it, included myself included. But yeah, to circle back to the whole plagiarism thing, the reason why I say, oh, nothing ever happens to good people, and then like bad people reap all of the benefits, at least until now, James Somerton apparently was making something like almost $11,000 a month. The number precisely is escaping me, but Dan Olson, who is also another YouTuber, made a Twitter thread explaining how at some point he had actually spoken directly about this before the Hbomberguy video, and how he was essentially stealing money from thousands of people, all while stealing content from like writers and publishers and actual journalists, and then just like changing words around, and then, you know, or not even changing words around. And also, one of the more egregious ones was straight up reading from Wikipedia. So, you know, thousands of dollars a month from Patreon, just grifting. The grift is real. And what say you about those of us who have a moral spine and cannot grift in peace? Other things that happened this week. Yesterday, rather Thursday night, was the Game Awards. And I kind of walked away from it feeling kind of alienated from the gaming community, because when it comes to like popular games, most of the time I don't play them. I do enjoy watching other people play games. Like, I do watch a lot of Twitch content, and I enjoyed watching people play Resident Evil 4, even though one of my favorite Resident Evil streamers said it was hot garbage and just not enjoyable, which that's debatable, but a lot of people still enjoyed the remake. And I kept having this thought, which is that, like, why is every game that comes out or is about to come out, save for Nintendo, still kind of running off of their flagship Mario and Zelda, everybody's obsessed with space and fighting machines? And I tweeted that, like, a smarter person than me would really deep dive into that, like, concept of why are all these games that are coming out about space and fighting machines. Because immediately I think about, you know, man versus machine, and then I think about AI and how we're seeing the benefits and detriments of AI. I still think that technology itself is neutral. It's just that humans don't have morality, so they're... And then also capitalism is like, capitalism seeks out technology for exploitation purposes every single time that it can do so. It's like, you know, people thought that with automation would come people's abilities to focus on other things, and that we as society would, make life easier for humans. But instead, what we've done is we've just made labor even more exploitable and made it even harder for everyone to have gainful employment and, food, shelter, clothing, money, things to live. But the whole AI thing is like, what really irritates me about the AI discussion as is now, and also the way that it's being implemented, is that it's really not artificial intelligence. It's not what we would think of as like the machines having some kind of intelligence. They're not thinking. ChatGPT is not thinking, and it's not passing the Alan Turing test. What ChatGPT is doing is mining data and condensing it in a way that is passable or believable. And it's great sometimes, and it's also kind of trash in a lot of other ways. I've experimented so far with ChatGPT in a couple of ways. One was, it was very helpful with, well, I guess it's debatable whether or not it was helpful with the job search and applying to jobs, because I still feel like, despite what people say about cover letters, nobody reads them. And if they do, it's because the resume itself was, flagged for whatever reason. But the through line that I'm trying to make with that is basically humans still have to do the heavy lifting when it comes to most things. And so I feel like a lot of businesses and people went in on this AI and ChatGPT are the future of the world only because they could financially benefit from doing so, and it all just ended up being a pyramid scheme in the end, because again, the AI is not sentient. It's not intelligent. We still can't teach a chatbot to be human. We can come pretty close, and we can write scripts for the chatbot to follow based on, people entering things. But right around the time I was laid off from my previous job, there was a guy who had tweeted that he had laid off his entire customer service force because he believed he could replace it using like a chat box, and he was like bragging about it, and everybody's like, bro, first of all, like, not only are you a human Google, but the alleged replacement that you are putting forth is not a replacement, and it's not good, and it's just as awful as these systems are for any complex types of questions or situations, which is the whole reason that customer service reps exist, right? It's like, of course, if I can solve my problem simply by Googling a tracking number and finding out where it is, then yeah, I don't need to talk to a customer service rep. But if I need to ask a customer service rep why insurance isn't covering my MRI despite a doctor ordering it, a artificial intelligence system is not going to be able to answer that question, because in the United States of America, we have made insurance so incredibly tedious and stupid that only a human who has read hours and hours of bullshit can bullshit an answer to you. I guess the conclusion there is AI is not good at bullshitting, which is something that a lot of companies still need. We still need people on the other end bullshitting you so that you remain a customer and a slave to whatever system is in place. Not to get all like personal or whatever, but the reason why I've been thinking about insurance lately is because I have been recently or rather recently, I've become disabled. And this disability is a permanent one because there is not a cure for a spinal injury. I think a lot of people have this perception, even myself, that the spine is this sort of unmovable, unshakable thing, and we think of like people who break their spine as like, you know, permanently disabled. Except when the spinal fracture is, you know, not making you quadriplegic, but even then, I'm sure that the United States Department of Disability would find a way to reject you. But of all the things that I've been struggling with when it comes to like the healthcare system and the disability system and just the United States in general being hot garbage when it comes to treating people with disabilities, is that like it's so dehumanizing, right? Like, I got rejected from my first application for a disability, and the biggest irony of that being nobody is surprised. Like, even myself is not surprised. Like, we hear constantly, anecdotally and study-wise, that most people get rejected on their first application. And part of it is like, Jesus, what kind of system have we created that is now just normal to be like, if you apply for disability, you're probably not going to get it the first time. Because they just need to check to make sure you're not completing disability fraud, which I gotta say, for all of the fraud protections, where's the fraud? Because I'm not seeing it. I need to know, like, who is getting away with disability fraud in 2023 and how, because I need it, but I'm actually disabled. But the struggles this year re-disability have been very hard monetarily, hard mentally, hard physically, because I can't do the things that I used to do very easily. But ultimately, you know, I keep going. I keep showing up because I took the words from the Swan Princess and made it my life principle, which is you can't say we didn't try. So if anything, I will always be in the boat of like, you can't say I didn't try to do something. But it's not working out so far. But I guess this YouTube video is also me trying. So if you enjoyed the last few minutes of me ranting about different topics, please like and subscribe and let me know what you think about this. I'm sure some people who have like perfectionist thoughts are looking at me clicking certain numbers and switching palettes and being like, why are you doing that? But, you know, maybe this is good content. And if it is, let me know and I'll keep doing it. And I will see you guys in the next one.